You're an astronaut. I'm a lady with a rocket. Will you go to space with me? Or fall for the galaxy while we run away to the Middle East? You drop me off with strawberries on a bus to Tel Aviv. Never thought I'd fit right in a world I've never been. I wanna fly, forget the wind that's swaying me away from you. 'Cause all I wanna do is spend my life chasing the place that makes me happy. Will you join me for a bike ride through the English gardens? Absorb the history. This foreign place should be our fairy tale, right out of nowhere. We swirl around the castle where we claim the king and queen, and fly above the trees, up away. I wanna fly, forget the wind that's swaying me away from you. 'Cause all I wanna do is spend my life chasing the place that makes me happy. When you need time, or a little bit of air, you feel the planet spinning underneath your feet. I'll try to help you breathe. The feeling that we need is like a bird chasing the bees, or a sun that sets before. Welcome to the Morning Song Show. I'm your host, singer-songwriter Haley Drace, and this is the show where I play a song for you live every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time. It is Monday, people, and I have a cure for your case of the Mondays. I'm just going to start it right off right here. All right. Are you ready? For anyone tuned in just now, I have the Morning Song Show mugs ready to cheer you in, available in my online store. Yay! We made it happen. I'm mostly excited because this means that if you've been tuning into the show, you totally understand this. When I cheers to you, you'll now have a way to have your own mug of the day. I'm so pumped about this. And the announcement is just that it's available in my online store. I only have 4 available. So I just want to give you that heads up. It's an extremely limited quantity, but it's just the first iteration. I want you to have it. So if you'd like the first iteration of the Morning Song Show mugs, they're now available. And I'm going to cheers you into the morning. So let's say hey to my friends. And we'll get started with the show and this topic of the week where we're going to talk all about acceptance. Whoop, whoop. Yep, that's right. All right, friends, on Instagram, we got Allison. Hey, Allison, great to see you here as always. Kazande, hey, thanks for joining. Marco, what's up? Thanks for joining today. And Elisa Belazan, thank you so much for being here. Cheers to you and the mug of the day. Lara Lou. Is that my Auntie Lara? That's very exciting. I'm so glad you're here. And yeah, I miss you. I'm ready to see you again in LA. Hope you'll make we'll have to either I'll be in, I'll come visit you or you come visit me, whatever works best. Sandra Dreiss is on Instagram today. All right. You are the master of social media, mother. I'm very proud of you. Cheers to you. Happy Monday. Yay. Awesome. And then Mario just joined on Instagram. Thanks so much for tuning in. I've got friends on Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube as well. So if you're on there, hey, Mike. Mike says, good morning, Haley. Hope your weekend was nothing but perfect. Thank you so much. I strive for perfection, but it's never perfect as always. And, but I appreciate the sentiment, and it was a very nice weekend. Thank you so much. It was very restful, and I hope yours was also close to perfect, or not, nothing but perfect. Why not? Thank you so much. And then Dan Silverman, good morning, Haley. How are you today? Thank you so much, Dan, for tuning in. It's great to see you again. Guys, I'm doing great. I'm well rested. Yeah, I'm feeling great on a Monday. Fridays are always the hardest because, waking up in the morning after 5 days is the most difficult. But here we are. And gosh, let's just talk about acceptance, because why not? You're like, what are you talking about? Okay. And I say this because literally I told Lennon this, and he's like, I don't get it. What do you mean? So I'm going to explain it to you. So I've been doing these themes of the week, and I also take into account the song that I'm going to play every single day on my Instagram stories, because I want to know what you want to hear every single morning. And I've decided to add this sort of theme of the week as like a talking point, but also to just sort of engage in the songs that I'm playing and like the theme of those songs. Last week, I talked about the music industry. This week, I'm talking about acceptance, and it was inspired by this interview. I'm wondering if you guys have seen it. So Oprah is doing that like Super Universe tour, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but she's, going around stadiums talking and interviewing people, and Lady Gaga was interviewed for this super duper tour with Oprah. And I'm getting all of these suggested videos in my YouTube feed because YouTube. Last week, since I was like talking about the music industry, I was listening to a lot of like interviews with artists, and I don't know if you got on that same train, but anyway, it ended up with me getting this suggested video. Also, what is up with the suggested video things, and who has not had a suggested video train that you've gone on that roll, right? But Lady Gaga, if you haven't seen it, it's an incredible interview. I don't want to give it away in any way. But one of her main themes she talks about, and the way she's overcome a lot of her struggles in her life, is through what she calls, and what I believe through her therapy has realized, is radical acceptance. It's crazy how many things in our lives that happen where we are just like, we just don't accept them. And this happens because I think we protect ourselves. So like something bad happens to us and we don't want to accept that because we're here to protect ourselves, right? But the problem with that is then you don't accept everything in your life. And if I know that I am generally a happy person, I choose to be a happy person, but even in my life, it's like, even when I choose to be happy, life is not always rainbows and butterflies. And I am not about to make this day somber for you, but I think acceptance is really important, and there's so many different facets to it. So I hope you guys are down to talk about acceptance. Any Lady Gaga fans out there, by the way? Anyone seen this interview? If you haven't, that's cool. I'm curious. Hey, Juan, what's going on? I was just admitting my obsession with YouTube suggested videos and how that landed on our topic of this week of radical acceptance. Okay, so acceptance can mean vulnerability. And so the question of the day was, do you want a song about vulnerability or strength? So you wanted a song about vulnerability. My question of the day for you is vulnerability a strength or a weakness? This is a big question, so I'm going to take a sip here. Let's ponder together. I don't have tea this morning, but if I did, I'd have to do the whole like pinky thing. Okay, so vulnerability. Is it a strength or a weakness? I want to tell you a quick story about the song that I'm going to play called Delicate. And it is definitely about vulnerability. When I was so many of you know this, but for those of you who don't, I am a classical violinist, and I studied classical violin in college, all the way through college, I should say. I started when I was 6 years old, and my plan was to be this virtuosic violin player in a symphony, in an orchestra, doing all kinds of crazy things in the classical music world. When I found my love for writing music, it kind of happened by accident. And when that happened, as things do, when you have this, I don't want to say like when you're vulnerable, but like when you're open to these new experiences, what happens is sometimes you surprise yourself and you're like, oh my gosh, I definitely didn't realize that I was going to fall in love with writing music. I thought I was just going to be playing music off a page. Like, and I don't mean that in like a negative way, like, oh, if you play music off a page, that's a bad thing. I just mean like, to me that was definitely like really interesting. So I decided to go down the writing route, and what happened is I came home and I wrote, out of the 4 albums, this first album, Beautiful to Me. And what's interesting about this is it was a huge moment of vulnerability for me. You might ask why. And it kind of happened. I wrote all of these songs in a dark basement. You might think I'm a bat, or you might think that I'm literally like I go underground or something. Like that's literally what it was like. I was like in my room in a basement of my parents' house writing all of these songs, and there was this place of comfort for me to be able to be vulnerable. And I don't know what happened, but I started telling, this was my first album, so I started telling the really important stories that led up to my life up until this point. And it's not all of them, of course, but I had some really intense experiences, so I don't want this to be triggering for anyone, but I did have a friend who committed suicide, for example. I had a friend, my father, who passed away from cancer. I had, I was seeing my friends who were looking in the mirror, feeling shameful. I wrote Beautiful to Me. And there were so many moments of vulnerability on this album, and even writing Dancing to a Symphony about my experiences of classical music and coming to that was a huge moment of vulnerability to me. So I say this because when I wrote these songs, I realized that I hadn't performed them live on stage. And there was a coffee shop, like a Starbucks, in our college campus. And I decided, oh, wow, well, I guess I better start performing these songs. If I've written them, I want people to hear them. And I got there on stage, starting to play, and I had never thought I'd ever experience this, because I'd never experienced this in all the times I'd performed on stage with my violin. But I felt like people were reading my diary. And I know looking back, and like whenever I play songs now, I'm like, people aren't paying attention to every word. They don't know like every moment or everything about your lyrics or songs. But it is so crazy how that moment of vulnerability became an act of courage for me. I wasn't going to do that just by like telling myself I was gonna, like, it wasn't like natural for me. I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm gonna share all these really difficult songs. And granted, like lots of people didn't know what these songs were about, so how would they have known how, vulnerable this experience was for me? So this happens repeatedly on stage, and what makes it difficult, as I feel like an artist and my perspective as a songwriter, is sharing your heart on your sleeve, if you will. But I think people mistake that for being a weakness. I think it takes an incredible amount of courage, an incredible amount of strength. And when I see these artists and songwriters who either have mistakes on stage, or they have moments when they're sharing something, like in Lady Gaga's case, she was sharing all kinds of crazy stuff that happened in her life. I'm like, man, not only was she vulnerable, she was so strong in that moment to be able to share that. There's so many artists and so many people in the world. So I wonder for you what that may be. Like, what moments for you in your story have been a moment of strength when you thought they were weakness? Because I would argue that maybe being vulnerable was a really important thing for you to do. And so by accepting, here we go, acceptance, by accepting this moment of vulnerability, I think we can become stronger. And then it also accepts this whole picture of ourselves, right? So I'm no expert, by the way. I'm not a psychologist, not a whatever, but I think as a songwriter, like stepping back and seeing perspective has been this. It's funny how I write songs and then I look at them and I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm talking to someone who's wise, but I wasn't the wise person. I'm like talking to this person that wrote the song that is giving me this wisdom right now. But yeah, seeing our lives in this whole perspective, perfections, imperfections, perfect weekends, imperfect weekends. And yeah, it's crazy. So here we are. Oops. I am going to play a song about vulnerability called Delicate. I hope you enjoy. And I see, let's see. So Chelsea, just real quick before we start, because I asked you like about vulnerability. Is it a weakness? Is it a strength? My argument obviously is that it's a strength, but you know, these are opinions here. And I want to know. Let's see. So Chelsea says it's a huge strength. Yeah, on Facebook. Totally. I mean, obviously, I just gave you my whole argument about why I agree with you. But yeah, totally. I agree with you, Chelsea. And Bella Zen on Instagram says, totally agree. Thank you for sharing and being vulnerable with us. Thank you. Yes, actually, that was a moment of vulnerability for myself to share that moment with you. Being live on Instagram. Man, we could just like go on and on about all the different vulnerabilities and scary things we do in our life, right? But what's funny is now, like having done this live stream, like, and I'm thinking about the first time I did it, actually, Sassafrassiness, you might remember like some of the first times that I was going at this, and I'm only 2 months maybe into it. I feel like a different person. I feel like the more vulnerability and strength, the acts of courage that you have, the more you do those, the easier it gets. Georgie Boy says the guy that's asked, let's see, something about talking on funerals. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but maybe you're talking about like if someone were to talk about funerals, maybe that would be a moment of vulnerability. Absolutely. Had stage fright a long time ago. Yeah, maybe you overcame that. Maybe that's what you mean. I'm curious. And my mom says truth is beauty. Well said, Mom. And Mike agrees with you. Well said. Okay, so Delicate. Here we go. I'm alive without my armor, but I'll survive with every falter. I'm holding on to you. I'm holding on to you, and I won't fight the darkness is blind, and I can't win 'cause I am delicate. Weakness kills, but no one's bleeding, and in my bones a heart deceiving. I'm holding on to you. I'm holding on to you. my breath with drowning fighters, and I can't win 'cause I am delicate. Thank you for listening. That was my song Delicate from my album There it is. From my album Taking Time. And it is the last song on the album, because I think I mentioned this before, maybe in an evening show or morning show, but I tend to end the songs, number 7, with an acoustic ballad or just some sort of stripped down situation. I apparently really like to do that on every album. So, but no, I really loved ending it this way. This is called Delicate. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to play the music in the outro, and we are going to continue our Monday. I was like, what day is this? How could I forget? We're going to continue our Monday, and if you like what you heard, as always, you can go to HaleyDraceMusic.com to catch all of my music videos and more. Of course, this song is available on Spotify and Apple Music, so I want you to be able to check that out or hear it in the outro music right now. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, I've got these brand new Morning Song Show mugs available nationally and internationally, so if you want to order it, they are available for $10, so try to keep it budget friendly, but also to give you the opportunity to have a mug of your own. And they are live in my store right now. You can go to HaleyDraceMusic.com and click on the store tab. I believe that leads you to shop.HaleyDraceMusic.com. There are links in my bio to all of these things, so if you're like after the show you want to check it out, definitely feel free to do that. I only have 4 of these available, and if while you're at it you want to get your mug, you can pick up your copy of a signed copy of one of my 4 albums available now, and I've got t-shirts, sweatshirts, handwritten lyrics galore, Venmo and PayPal for anyone who already has all of the things but just wants to support the show. I hope you have a wonderful Monday. Hope any of these things could have been a cure for the case of your Mondays. And I'm just making sure I get the music here. Have an amazing Monday. Thanks, Georgie, for all the claps. Thanks, Sandra, who said a work of heart. Very clever and very kind. Thank you. And thanks for Derek for joining on Instagram. I will see you guys Tuesday for more acceptance. Let's accept that Tuesday for what it is. Bye. I'm alive without my armor, but I'll survive with every falter. I'm holding on to you. I'm holding on to to win, 'cause I